Hello, Team YouTube and everybody else, and perhaps YouTube Legal. I imagine that you have all started your week thinking, where do we go from here? Because right now, YouTube, the platform, is the topic of conversation on headline news. And in Colorado specifically, they have their legislation looking at what happened. What happened was a creator named Zavgirl on YouTube. This is something that headline news does not understand about YouTube. YouTube, that on YouTube, the terms of services state when you sign up to conceal your identity or protect your identity that you should go by a name other than your legal name. Okay. Now, when you become a YouTube partner, YouTube knows your legal name because it is a shared income with AdSense. So YouTube most likely knows our legal name and how to contact us if they were to be subpoenaed, et cetera, et cetera. But when the headline news stated Zavgirl as her username, they said people don't use their real names on YouTube. They don't know why. Well, that is why. And of course, YouTube, you know this. So right now, while YouTube is the topic of conversation because of what Zavgirl did, I imagine that a lot of you are sitting around going, why is what she did so wrong compared to what others do? And I'm here to explain and offer a possible solution or explanation. Now, while Zavgirl did put the autopsy pictures of the child, I don't want to say his name because I don't want his name further tied into this controversy. I believe that there was a trial and the person responsible for that child's terrible unaliving, because we can't say the M word by terms of service. I believe that the person responsible for his unaliving is where she needs to be, and that is in prison. Zavgirl put his autopsy pictures up on Patreon. So people are not focused on Patreon. Why is that? People confuse it and they think that Patreon and YouTube are the same or they are an exception. They are not. YouTube is a separate entity. Patreon is a separate entity. Zavgirl got her platform and her supporters by her channel on YouTube. So she allegedly stated that she had that autopsy up and it could be seen on Patreon. Allegedly, she put a link to the Patreon on her YouTube. I have not independently confirmed that, but that is how I understand it happened. Patreon then allegedly did deplatform her because they took down the video when controversy came up. She reposted it and she's been deplatformed. People are now calling for Zavgirl to be deplatformed on YouTube as well. I imagine that that is difficult because she may not have broken the terms of service that you see. The reason that the community, YouTube is a self-policing community, correct, YouTube? You want us to tell you when we see other creators not abiding by the terms of service. And if you get enough complaints about the same creator breaking the terms of service, then you act, is the way that I understand it. If I am wrong, I would love for clarification on that. But from what I understand, YouTube expects us to police that and be self-policing. Now that's a problem because a lot of us do see terms of service being broken and actual laws being broken, but if we make it part of our channel, part of our content, then we are targeted, especially as a small channel such as mine. When I have spoken out about the egregious creators who are really hurting the platform, those creators have then worked to take my channel down, and they were once successful in doing so. And then all of my videos get falsely reported, so I no longer have the ability to self-police my content. When I put it up, it's automatically flagged as not suitable, as you can see. Then I put them back up for review, and they are suitable for what I have seen by the rules themselves. So I am further penalized. I'm further penalized, I believe, because I believe my channel is now on the radar because it is seen that I've done something wrong. Because, as you can see on my channel, we'll go here, your channel, and, well, I guess we can't see it. Let's see, maybe videos here. Maybe if I go to home, maybe here. No, I do apologize. I should be able to show it. Maybe YouTube Studio will show here. Channel dashboard. I do have an active copyright strike. This is confusing for me because the tragedy pimps, and I will go into that and how zavgirl falls into that, the tragedy pimps have taken over. So we as smaller creators cannot have a platform because the tragedy pimps who are exploiting personal tragedies are getting all of the money, and they are not being responsible with that money or honest in how they are raising those funds. Therefore, we smaller channels are being targeted because if we do speak out, then, like we say, like I'm on the radar now, my videos that I do on the same content, but I do not beg and exploit and bully people for money. Therefore, I do not get the views. So what I started doing is, another part of my life is that I go to a lot of live concerts. So when I am at a live concert and I take a video of the performer performing and then put it up on my channel, there's never been a problem. I get that I put the artist and the song that they are singing. I'll show you here. And let's see, library, maybe we'll show you. My videos. If we go over here to my videos, I've done several from where I am at the concert and I put up the artist singing. There's not a problem. At the same concert I was at, so I was at this concert where Joan Jett opened. I filmed her and put her up. I got a copyright where it says copyright protected content found. You are sharing revenue with the other copyright owners. Okay, so there's not a problem. I did not, it shows here that the ad is sharing. It's not a problem. I ended up putting that private because at that very same concert, the next performer was Bryan Adams. When I put Bryan Adams' performance up, not his entire performance, of course, him singing a song, just like I did for Joan Jett, which was fine. When I did that, then I got a strike for doing that. I got a strike, and I don't understand why I would get a strike if I had been at the same concert and filmed at the same concert one performer, and then the next performer, I put it up and I get a strike on my account. I don't see why, and I don't think it's fair, as I think that I have like 15 other concert performers where I put up, and it might come up as a copyright, but it'll be shared revenue or can't monetize, or there is no problem and I can monetize, not a problem. So this strike contains 2 videos. As I'm saying, I don't understand how I got this strike. I don't feel that I'm doing anything wrong, but I feel that my channel may be on somebody's radar because I have spoken out about the problems that are on YouTube that I see. I am a person where as if I see a crime being committed, I cannot just look away and turn away and ignore it. I report it, and I have done so. I have reported to the proper authorities the crimes that I have seen being actively committed on live streams. With that being said, Zavgirl was a part of the bigger problem, in which she is what the popular term right now on YouTube is tragedy pimping. It is essentially making money on the tragedy of others. If Zavgirl had not made as much money as she had last summer, I do not think that she would have taken the steps that she made this summer to try to get the same amount of income. YouTube has become a forum in which creators are almost like Andrew Dice Clay. They're trying to become shock jocks. The person saying the most shocking and egregious thing is getting all of the money. And that money is given because people are stressed out when they're watching and they want to be a part of a solution. So they believe that the person saying the most shocking thing is the person who is raising the money to get the solution, so that then there won't be the problem. Nothing could be further from the truth. The person getting the money is not using the money for its intended purpose. That, by definition, is theft by deception. It is financial extortion. It is financial abuse. Zavgirl last year streamed almost nonstop. Back from my day, there used to be telethons for certain causes. The Jerry Lewis telethon. It would be on TV, and there would be entertainment and whatnot, and there would be all of the phones, and you could call in and give money. People wanted to do it. It was part of a community. It was giving to a cause. People saw this. It was something that other people were doing. There was high energy. They called in. They gave money. Zavgirl, by definition, had a dial-a-thon going on for the Kylie Rodney case last year. In such doing, she, I believe, interfered in an active criminal investigation. She would get all of these films. People would send in films from where they were at. Kylie Rodney was a young lady who was at a party we'll be very vague here and say in California, and she went missing. Later turned out that she was driving impaired, and she drove into a body of water. She was missing, and a lot of conspiracy theories were given life due to creators like Zavgirl putting up a platform for these conspiracy theories. Zavgirl also allegedly hosted an organization called Adventures with Purpose, who ultimately did end up finding Kylie's body and car, where the sheriffs in that jurisdiction had said that the car was not. Okay? So people could look in and say, well, Zavgirl, by YouTube, did a great thing because she kept the awareness and the energy up there so that people didn't just let this be another missing person, that there was no closure because the sheriffs went, the people who are supposed to do the searches went, nothing was found, and maybe nobody would have ever known what happened to Kylie Rodney. Okay? I give Zavgirl that perhaps her raising that, but what she did wrong was do what we do not do in our American justice system, is that she started questioning people who did not need to be questioned and who would have never been questioned based on our American justice system. She would get little videos of the party and then put up that video of that party, and people would call in and say, oh, I know who that is. That's Bob Johnson. And then she'd be, okay, I want Bob Johnson. I want to know what Bob Johnson's driving. I want to know what his vehicle looks like. And people would send in pictures of his vehicle. Oh, there's damage on his vehicle. Wow. Okay, where'd that damage come? Is that from maybe getting in a car accident with Kylie? What happened? Where's Bob Johnson in his vehicle, and how did that damage get on the vehicle? So then there's a veritable witch hunt out there for Bob Johnson to come forward and say who he is and how that damage is on his vehicle. I saw it again and again. These people who were then looked at by the people in their community who were all looking for this girl going, well, you know what? Bob was just identified online, and all of the online people are saying that Bob caused Kylie to go missing, that Bob has something going on, that there's something on Bob's car. What do we do about that, huh? Well, and so then he would get the interview on zavgirl's platform, and people were giving money and money and money and money and money to zavgirl for having this live performance that then got Bob Johnson and the damage on his truck there. What did all of that money, where did all of that money go? Money did zavgirl make by doing that? Why aren't all of us doing that? Well, because we're not supposed to. That is not allowing law enforcement to do their job. That is creating a witch hunt. That is creating vigilante justice. Would have went against Bob Johnson then, because it was said that he had something to do with it because of somebody on the internet. This is why YouTube and you legal YouTube legal needs to pay very careful attention as to what is going on with creators such as zavgirl, because she did not learn her lesson last year at all by what she did, interfering in an active investigation. She made a lot of money. What does that show her? And what does that show other creators? It shows other creators that you can get a big following and you can make a lot of money by interfering in active criminal investigations. You can make a lot of money by targeting people who would never be targeted by the law, and they should have never talked. If Bob Johnson was indeed a suspect, later identified by the police, his involvement could have then been thrown out because of what happened on YouTube, the platform, and then maybe there would have never been justice for Kylie or another girl if Bob Johnson was the one involved. You are allowing the platform to poison potential jury pools because these creators are getting rich. Okay? The money that so many people made off of Kylie, not just zavgirl, was intoxicating. The problem is that money did not do a thing to help find Kylie. It did not go to a foundation to bring awareness for underage drinking or well, I'm not going to go there. There was another creator, and she has been caught in many controversies and lies and even using racial slurs, and she was called out, but people said, no, she was really great. She did a lot during the Kylie Rodney thing. She talked to her mom and she raised all this money. So I looked into it, and yeah, she called her mom at her mom's place of work and recorded it. Her mother, who is also an attorney, I do not believe was aware of this recorded phone call. Nonetheless, the mother said that she did not want any monies that were raised for her daughter or otherwise, told her that she would not accept it. But this person had raised it to give to Kylie's mother. Kylie's mother said she didn't want it. So then this creator said, well, I guess I'll just give this money to Adventures with Purpose. 2 months ago, I reached out to Adventures with Purpose to ask if indeed this creator did give this money that was raised to them, and if so, how much. As of 2 months later, they have indeed read their message that I sent to them, but they have never confirmed nor denied that any monies were given to them. So the question is that when all of this money is raised to go and help this missing person and whatnot, where are these monies really going? The answer is that it's really going to these creators' pockets. In order for people to stop profiting off of the tragedies of other people, YouTube, as the platform, needs to stop allowing money being raised in its entirety. No more asking, begging bullying for money. Each creator should be able to have in their information page about them how they accept tips and how they would be gracious for tips. Maybe you can say, hey, I want to be able to make my dog outdoor running thing. I'm not a dog person. I'm a cat person. I'm just trying to say, maybe somebody wants to build their dog an outdoor running space or whatever. And with the money that's raised in tips for their work, that's where their money will go. They should be able to do that. Or maybe somebody would say, you know what? I lost my mother to ovarian cancer, and any money that I get as a tip, I will donate to ovarian cancer research. And this is where I donate to. And my Venmo is this, and my Cash App is this. However it is, they should be able to list it and what they do with their money. And at the end of their streams, they should be able to say, thank you. If you liked what I said, please like, please share, and please tip me. My tipping information can be found on my information page. And that is it. Because what other creators have done is they have sat there and said, you know what? Today we're going to raise a bunch of money for St. Jude. Who would argue with that, right? Let's raise a bunch of money for the children. Let's raise for St. Jude. And a lot of people gave this woman a lot of money to go and donate to St. Jude. There was never a receipt on the other end that St. Jude had received any of those monies. But that creator did indeed walk onto a car lot and buy a brand new Camaro with cash. That creator did indeed talk about going to the next place she was going to go, to the next tragedy, and showed the array of Chanel and Gucci purses and Christian Louboutin heels that she was going to wear to this next tragedy that she was going to go to. But before each tragedy that she would go and barge in on, after raising so much money for this new tragedy of the stream, the monies were never shown where they went. How does this relate to Zavgirl and the others? If money were not a part of the picture, it would not be a part of the problem. Zavgirl charged $3 for each person to be able to view the most explicit details of a child's autopsy that was brutally unalived. $3. That autopsy was extremely sensitive. That autopsy was not to be in the hands of everybody. That was not supposed to be for mass dissemination. It said it was not for dissemination, and it was disseminated on Patreon by the link on YouTube for $3. We know that there are dark child predators that obtain this type of material from the internet in ways that then they are not traced. We don't want to speculate on where that goes in their mind and how and if that goes to inspire them to act on the urges in which they have. That is why those pictures were not supposed to be disseminated, and certainly not for $3. Plunder, who is a very responsible creator, explained the process in how people like Zavgirl obtained the autopsy. It was in a package from the trial itself. And at first, the trial itself put together a package cost, and it was about $20,000 for YouTube and other creators, media to obtain. It got whittled down to about $300 to $400. So you can say that, okay, Zavgirl wanted to recoup some of the revenue in which she put in there. That is a reasonable argument. But the answer is in putting it together as the whole picture and not taking up the child's autopsy and then making it behind a paywall for just $3. I shudder to think who has those images. And so many of us are doing our jobs in putting up pictures of that little boy smiling so that when his parents or his sister goes online, they see pictures of that child's smile as opposed to what is now in the headlines because of what Zavgirl did, because greed has taken over the YouTube community. These creators that now are making a fortune on the disappearance of Summer Wells, they have people who are career criminals deeply invested in this case because it has such a following of people who are giving money that these people who, one of them who was out of prison, does not have a paying job because he is getting money from going out and stalking the parents of the missing child. He has the money to go and stalk these parents because people on YouTube are giving him that money to do so. He is, by definition, breaking the terms of his probation in doing so. He is connected to the other tragedy pimps who raise excessive funds for their purse collection, their Camaro and whatnot, because if anybody like me speaks out against them, those tragedy pimps contact the one who's on probation because he's a prolific identity theft. He created the term, well, what courts now know as phishing. So phishing. He was such a prolific identity thief that it was his job to find other people's identity and then monetize that, get the money out of those people's identities. So these people who are on YouTube raising this money for, it doesn't go to St. Jude, it doesn't go to Summer Wells, but they use Summer Wells. They use whatever headline is in the news. They use that victim of the tragedy to act like they are raising money for that victim. And they're not. And if anybody speaks up against them, they contact the one on probation and they say, hey, find out who this creator is. I'll give you $125 to find out who this creator is. And then that creator is then doxed. The term is doxed. That creator's identity is made known, and they do things like file false Child Protective Service CPS reports on them. They call the police and have them swatted. They say that that person is in the middle of something, whatever, that causes a swatting. This is how the swatting is being done. This is how the doxing is being done. It is all because of the greed that creators like JLR, who finds the identities, like Blowhorn Betty, like Molly. All of these creators are not giving the money to the people that they say that they are. They are simply using the headlines to exploit others into believing that they are giving money to find a solution for that. This is why I believe that YouTube needs to stop this greed. This greed has poisoned the YouTube community, and we cannot clean up these YouTube streets until the greed is put back where it belongs. Greed should not be the premise, and greed should not be the content. People go to YouTube because they want to talk about something. They want to find out more information. They want to find another viewpoint. They want to find out the details that mainstream media cannot express because of the provisions that they are under by their advertisers. So we as YouTube creators have the opportunity to speak freely because we are not bound by those same provisions. That's the beauty of YouTube. And that's where we were as a community. And that's where we were able to build our platform on subscribers who appreciated our unique viewpoint and the information that we could provide because we didn't have our hands tied by the advertisers. That's a great thing. But the handful of creators who have taken it too far have taken it too far. And this is why, right now, that zavgirl is the one who is being put up there. She's the one in the headlines. She's the one who's gotten the attention. But it's not just her. The whole platform of greed needs to be stopped, and only you can do that, YouTube. You are the one who obviously creates your terms of service, and I believe that it needs to go back to where it was. No more Cash App, Cash App, Cash App. There's a creator that you may well know, as those of us who tried hard to deplatform her because she has taken so much from this community. Creator against creator were pitted against each other for the scams that she has done. This is a person who was ran on scams for over 25 years. And when we reported her with the initials MS to you, YouTube, you deplatformed her as she was doing nothing but getting cash apps for her lies and scams. You took her platform down. You took her channel. She proceeded to make over 50 channels and just slap everybody in the face that had tried to stop her from what she was doing. She'd still come up, and she'd still get all of the money. Each time she comes up, she gets 200 to 2,000, no matter how short of a time she's up there, because all she does is Cash App, Cash App, Cash App, Cash App. So those of us who continue to abide by the terms of service, we have to wait because everybody's watching her because they're going, well, wait a minute. I thought that she got her channel taken down. And if her channel's back up, then YouTube must be fine with it. And she must be telling the truth. And she needs money, right? She needs money for food and dog food, right? Wrong. So then YouTube, took the step of blocking her ISP. Thank you. But it hasn't stopped. That person still continues to go on other people's channels and continues to have enablers that give her that platform. And people watch it because they like to watch the latest tragedy, pimp, train wreck, etc. Until you put the steps in place to stop the greed, people like her with the initials MS won't go away either. To her, there's a financial gain every time she gets on a platform. People give her that money. If that was not allowed, if the begging, bullying, scams were not there, she wouldn't be here. And the other creators would not be trying to compete of who gets the most shocking detail out there to get the viewers that give the money. The case of the Idaho 4 is very big on YouTube. The one who I've mentioned before, the prolific identity theft, he is also deeply embedded in the Idaho 4. He is giving irresponsible and disgusting information that is not true at all on his channel about what happened to the Idaho 4. And because he goes in there and says these horrific things, people think, well, because he's on YouTube and he has this platform of 50,000 people, we all know that many of those subscribers are ones that he has created, as he is a master of creating fake profiles. So we don't know how many of those subs are actual real people or him. So he can essentially monetize himself with all of his fake profiles. But people assume if YouTube hasn't done anything about it, if YouTube doesn't care, then he must be doing everything legally. No, he's not. He is, again, one of the Andrew Dice Clays of the YouTube. He is having the Jerry Springer show on his platform. And he is getting the money to do this by doxing anybody who speaks out about the creators who are manipulating and exploiting the money off the backs of other people's tragedies. YouTube, we need you to act. We need you to protect us smaller creators from being targeted and unfairly stricken, like we feel like we can't do anything right because the ones who are doing everything bad never have a consequence. Now that the light is shined on you, YouTube, please consider what I'm saying. I believe that a lot of creators will support what I'm saying, and the ones who are making so much money being vultures off the tragedies will not support me. And I'm ready for that. I'm ready to take this step because I don't want to be a part of this community that is allowing people who are victims to be further victimized and for people to make a living off of their tragedy. YouTube, the time is now. The time is while you're in the headlines. The time is now for you to act so that you can show that you are a part of the solution. That while you might have provided the platform for the problem to become, you're going to make sure that you have amended the terms of service so that YouTube remains a safe and responsible platform for people to create content that people really like. Right now, with the Screen Actors Guild strike, television shows are not there. People are complaining there's nothing on TV. So they're coming to us. They're coming to us on YouTube. They want what we have. They want to be able to read a headline and see an older show and put in a search and find somebody talking about it so then they can talk to that person about what they've investigated. Like, I love to go down rabbit holes. And so when people comment on what, something that I've looked into and they ask a question, I love it because then I get to tell them, oh, yes. And then I went here and then I found this and I found this. And did you know that? And that interaction is shown on my channel. Of my 1,840 some odd subscribers, I love to interact with them. I have made very little on Cash App. And I have no problem being forthcoming and transparent about that. To this end of me having my channel for over 1 year, I became monetized in March. I have received one check from YouTube, which was $120. So from YouTube AdSense itself, I have made $120 for over 1 year's work. And that included some super chats. On my Cash App, I have made maybe $300. So for me creating 368 videos, several lives on other panels, and the investment in which I put in my equipment and whatnot, I am barely making $500. So it is clear to see that I am not in this for the money. And if I'm not in this for the money, I don't think other people should. I think that there are other people who want just the truth to be out there. And if it is right for them to have earned a tip from somebody, then that is appreciated. But none of us should be in this for the money. That's not what this platform is for. There are people thinking that they are supporting entire communities by what they're giving, and there's no proof, there's no receipt, there's no audit for what is going on with all of the funds that are going to certain creators who are very financially aggressive in their content. Please help me stop it. Please stop all forms of fundraising and asking for financial help and e-begging at its entirety. Please help me to stop it. Please change the terms of service to include no more content about begging, no more crying and begging for money, no more trying to raise for a certain cause, no more. If the person wants to say where they would prefer money to be sent and they have a link, they can say that. They can say that, you know what, instead of giving me a tip, please donate it to St. Jude. The link is on my channel. But no more of this because the money that they're saying they're raising is not going there. Please, YouTube, help me stop the tragedy pimps at this point. I thank you for listening. And I thank you for considering what I have said. Thank you. Bye-bye.